Okay, chapter 1, we're talking about ratios and rates. Now, generally, for all of our purposes, you can use those terms interchangeably. But it's when you're comparing two different units, that is your ratio. I got so much of this compared to so much of that. Now, you can write it in a few different ways. Typically, they have the word to in between them. You could also see them with the colon right there, or you can use your fraction bar, which we have there. So all tell us the same thing. This compared to that, as this is to that, as this is to that. So it's however you want to write it. Couple things to keep in mind. Anytime you see the word to, that's going to be your separator. Okay, so whatever comes before the word to will come first, and whatever comes after the word to will come second. So just keep that in mind. Again, whatever they ask you, you have to make sure that you align it as they present it. Otherwise, you're going to get it wrong, or you're not going to have it in the right position whenever you are writing your ratios. So either way, if you have, for instance, let's say I got 1, 2, 3, 4 of those stars, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of those circles. Okay, now if they ask you some different questions about these, you really just got to make sure that you're following what they are looking for, because your numbers have to align with what the question is asking. So even though you might have it correct, if you're not following the correct order, then you're gonna get it wrong. So again, if they said, what's the ratio of stars to circles? Stars would come first. There are 4 of those out compared to the number of circles, which in this case is 6. And you can write it like that. Again, you could write it as 4 over 6. Again, those are both correct. Now, they might say some other things. For instance, they might say, what's the number of stars to total shapes? Now, in this case, there are 4 stars. If they want to know how many total shapes there are, you got to do an extra step, which is to add the total number of stars plus the total number of circles, which make that 10. So you got a ratio of 4 to 10. 4 out of the 10 shapes are stars. So, and again, if you said the other way, you would have to write it in the other order. So again, if they said, what's the number of shapes, which would be 10, compared to the number of stars, which was 4. So shapes to stars, 10 to 4. All right. So hopefully that's a good introduction into what ratios actually are. Now, let's look at a couple examples of these. I need both of them. All right, so here is some different ratios. And again, it's important to look at the terms that they use. Okay, so number 1 here, and again, we're looking for unit rate in this situation. So we know that whatever our rate is, our unit rate always has a denominator of 1. So all you got to do is divide. That's it. That's all it takes. Divide your first number, your top number, divided by your bottom number. Okay? So $12 for 3 packages. We want to know what's the cost per package. All you got to do, 12 divided by 3. And we know that 12 divided by 3 is 4. So it's $4 for every 1 package. All right? $4 per package. Let's look at number 2. It says 210 gallons in 30 days. Okay, now 210 divided by 30. 210 divided by 30. Now, if I'm looking at this, again, I know when a number is divisible by 10, if you got a 0 on top and bottom, you can just chop it off. That's the easiest way to do it. I just reduced it by 10/10 right there. So now I'm left with 21 over 3, and 21 divided by 3 is 7. So it's 7 gallons per day. All right. 13 degrees in 13 minutes. Again, 13 divided by 13. Any number divided by itself is 1. So that is 1 degree for every 1 minute. Number 5. What's the unit rate when there are 180 calories in 12 ounces? They want to know how many calories per ounce, right? For every 1 ounce, how many calories is that going to be? And again, it's super important that you put the right numbers in the right spots. Okay, the first number is going to go on top, second number is going to go on bottom. 180 divided by 12, 12 goes into 180. And again, if you don't know, you can build a house. Top number always goes in, bottom number always goes out. 12 into 18 one time. Now, I like this shorthand division. That is 12. I know that when I subtract 12 from 18, that gives me 6. You carry that 6 over. 12 goes into 65 times. There are 15 calories per, backslash means divide, per means divide, per ounce. I'm going to use OZ for ounce. Okay, 2 more. 72 vehicles on 9 acres. I want to know how many vehicles per acre. Just take 72 divided by 9. That does go unevenly. Now, not everyone will go evenly, but these examples do. To hopefully an easy way to get you started. It's 8 vehicles per acre. All right, and one more. Again, $800 for 40 hours. 800 divided by 40, an easy way. Chop off the tens. Now, this only works with zeros. Okay, I don't want to see anybody taking 13 thirds and chopping that off. No, do not do that. Do not do that. Okay, only works when you got a 0 on the back end, but if you have a 0 on top and bottom, you can divide it by 10 over 10 real fast by chopping them off. And now, all we're saying is how many times does 4 go into 80? That is 20, so it's $20 per hour. Okay? And there you go. Now, let's look at some other ones. Again, that's really what we're going to be looking at with unit rates. Some of these are just some easy ratios for you. I know this was a part of your homework, but if you didn't know, here you go. What's the ratio of squares to hexagons? All right, and again, 2 is your separator. Number of squares, 1 goes first. Number of hexagons, in this case, is 3. So it's a 1 to 3 ratio. What's the ratio of circles to hexagons? I already got us hexagons. Let's take a look at the circles. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Triangles to total shapes. Okay, and again, you got to know and understand what they're asking for. There's 1 triangle. There are 2 total shapes. There's a 1 to 2 ratio. Stars to triangle as 1 to 1. Stars to total shapes. Okay, now this one wants a colon in between the 2 quantities. So add up our stars, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then we took a look at our number of total shapes. All right, I know there's 6 stars, so all I gotta do is add up the number of triangles, which is 3. We add those to it. And again, there might be like 1 or 2 things that you have to add or subtract, but hopefully it's not too difficult for you. Ratio of triangles to total shapes, 2 is 2 for those 6.